Okay, gents, here we go with 8.10, and I'll just do one more after that, which will be 11. Then we'll do some tests in bank reconciliations. So this is the combination of the journals and the narrative version, so we're not ticking anything off. It's already been done for us. So we are just simply being tested in our ability to identify what changes I need to make to my records and what changes I need to make to my accounting records. Okay, so let's go with getting used to the process that we follow all the time. Alright, so you may now start to get into a bit of a habit. The first habit that I want you to get into is identify the two balances. Right, so there's the balance at the end of last month as per your accounting records, and there's the most recent bank statement, and that's the balance as per the bank statement records. Right, so once you identify those two, that's very important because you now know where to put them. Right, so this one will go here as your balance as per bank statement at the end of the month, and this one will go over in the accounting records at the start of the month. So your records, you're looking for the balance at the start of the month. For the bank reconciliation statement, you're looking for the bank statement figure at the end of the month. Right, so let's just put those two figures in. So it's negative 330, so that means it's an overdraft. Right, so that is overdraft in terms of your accounting records, which would be a current liability. Down here, the balance as per the bank statement is 405 debit, which also means that that is an overdraft figure. Right, so DR means overdraft. Right, so that's the first step. Identify the two balances. If you get that part right, you're well underway. All right, so as you're well aware, what we're looking for now are those things on the bank statement that we wouldn't know about. Right, so those things will be needed to be added into your cash receipts and cash payments journal. So let's do that part first. So we're looking for items in the checking off process, so it's already been done. Which of these items would we not know about? All right, so the first dot point, the $800 deposit not yet credited, appeared on the bank statement. So we've already recorded that $800 in our record, so that doesn't affect, as did checks 107 and 115. So we are the people that write the checks. So clearly we already know about the $800. We already know about those two checks. So that's got nothing to do with our records at this stage. A deposit deposited at the bank late on the 30th of June does not appear on the bank statement. So we clearly know about it because we have recorded and written up the deposit for $825. The bank doesn't know about it. All right, so those first two dot points have nothing to do with our records in terms of items we're missing. We know about all those. The bank has directly debited the bank account representing a repayment of a loan. So we're not going to know about this until the bank statement arrives. So that's your first one that needs to be adjusted. We would not have any idea about that entry until the bank statement turned up on our desk. Checks written in June. So if we've written the checks, we clearly know about them. So they're in our accounting records already. A customer paid $385 for repair fees, but the check has been dishonoured. We are not going to know about that until the bank statement arrives and says that this customer has got no money. And so they're going to take that money back off you and cancel the deposit. So we clearly don't know about that. A deposit was recorded in the cash receipts journal as $440 but appeared on the bank statement as $550. Carl has determined that the bank statement is correct. So therefore we have recorded it as $440, which is fine, but we've made a mistake. We should have written down $550. So we need to adjust our cash receipts to get the correct figure, and we are never going to know about interest until the bank statement turns up. Right, so there's your 4 changes that we need to make to our cash journals. Right, so the first one is the direct debit of a loan. So debits take money out of your account, so that's a equivalent of a payment. So $5.50 representing repayment of the loan. So we go here, loan repayment, bank statement. In the bank column, we put in $5.50, and under sundries, we put in $5.50. Right, so that's the recording of the repayment of the loan now to adjust my accounting records. A customer paid $385, but the cheque has been dishonoured. So remember, with dishonoured cheques, it was in here, banked, so therefore we have to take it out of there. So it comes out of receipts as a negative. Don't think they give us the name of the customer. No, so $385, so we assume that's including GST. So that is bank statement, and it's negative $385. Right, don't forget, if you want to work out the GST component, take that, divide it by 11. It's 35, and add your 0, negative 35 plus a 0. Right, so negatives in here for a dishonoured cheque. A deposit was recorded in the cash receipts journal as $440, but appeared on the bank statement as $550. Right, so it should have gone through as $550. We've only processed it for $440, so we're $110 short. So we need to add in here, error, and add in the $110. And does it tell us what it was for? Deposit, yes it does. So repair fees and $10 into the GST. Doesn't give us the name of the receipt, so we just have to put it as BS. And then the last one, interest on the overdraft, totaling $45, goes into your payments. Bank statement, $45, and in the sundries column, $45. Okay, so we've now adjusted my accounting records. So there's your 2 changes to your receipts, and there's the 2 changes to your payments. So there's identifying the dot points, which ones will change my accounting records because I don't know about them. Right? The ones we do know about, obviously I don't need to include them because they're already inside these figures. Right? They're inside those balances there already. So that includes deposits we've already written up, checks we've already written will already be in those figures. Right, so we now add up the new receipts figure. We get 3845, 3845, add those 2 together, and then put in the new payments figure. So we add that up, and we get 4410. Right, so we less 4410, and now we add those 2 together, the subtotal and the cash payments, and we're negative 895. So that is an overdraft. Right, so that will be a current liability in your accounting records. And what we want to get down the bottom here is obviously 895 overdraft as well. Right, so we're looking for 895 down here. Right, so now we need to go back and do the bank reconciliation side of things. So as you may remember, we've got to check the last month's reconciliation. Right, so these items here, has that deposit turned up and been banked? Have those checks been presented? Right, so on a bank statement, we could verify it by crossing them off, but this is in Word, so you need to read each dot point and follow what they're saying. So the first one says the $800 deposit not yet credited, that is that one there, appeared on the bank statement. So that means that has now been banked, so we can tick it off. As did checks numbers 107, that one, So they're saying that's been banked by whoever we gave the check to, and 115 has been banked. Right? There's no mention of 111, so we can assume that that is still outstanding, still unpresented. So over here, notice we've got less and add. Let's change that because we've got an overdraft. Right? So I'm going to add the unpresented checks. There's no point adding deposits not yet credited because they make it go the other way. So unpresented checks I'm going to add, and I'm going to grab the first one, which is number 111, and that is for $750. Right? So why am I adding? Is because this is an overdraft, right? $450 debit. So once this check is banked, it's going to make that even higher, right? It'll increase the amount of money we owe to the bank because that's taking more money out. All right, then we go to the next dot point, a deposit, $825, deposited late on the 30th of June. So therefore, inside that figure there, inside the 4120, does not appear on the bank statement. So the bank doesn't know about it. So we need to less the deposit not yet credited. I need to leave a gap because there's more unpresented checks. Deposit not yet credited, and that is for $825. Then we go down to the other unpresented checks. So there's the two that do not appear on the bank statement. So they were written out in the current month, number 137 and number 143. Right? So these checks would be inside there. Right? They'd be part of that $3,815. We've written out the checks. The people we gave the checks to have not yet banked them. Right? So we add in the 325 and we add in the 240. We add all that up, and therefore add it to the 405, because once they're all presented, it will increase that overdraft. So currently we've got 1720 overdrawn. What we do now is take away that deposit, because once that deposit is banked, it will reduce the amount of the overdraft. It will reduce the amount that we owe to the bank. So we take the 1720 and subtract the 825, and bingo, 895, the whole thing balances. So that is overdraft. Current liability. So that is 8.10. And again, you'll start, it's just repetition. Just quickly going over that again. First step is get the right balances. Critical. Right? You get the closing balance from last month's reconciliation becomes your opening balance in your accounting records. Find the bank statement, which is the last day of the month, if you've got a bank statement in front of you, or whatever the question tells you it is. Put that in as the balance as per the end of the month. Then we identify what we don't know about, which you're starting to realise is dishonored checks, loans, bank charges, bank fees, interest. And then down in the reconciliation, this part here, right, we put in what the bank doesn't know about. And as you can quite realise now, that we are only dealing with, right, so this part here, right, what we're looking at to go in here are those two things only. What checks have not been presented to the bank, and what deposits have I written up that have not yet been banked. Right? They're the only two items that will appear in here. And watch the one that's from last month. Right? So always be on the lookout for last month's reconciliation to see whether there's any unpresented checks still outstanding. Okay, any questions? Just Google Meet me in class.